This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love song. So I'm gonna call me. Boogie Wonderland. Yo tengo sus noches y su pasión.
You're listening to the Emerald FlowShow on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 17 of the Emerald FlowShow. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. You can follow us on Twitter at Emerald FlowShow, and you can go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate to donate if you are so inclined. And you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and that would be greatly appreciated. I'm Gerard DeTroglio here with Paul Vosch. Paul, how are you doing?
Doing fine. We're back a little bit quicker than we normally are. We actually realized that right after we went off the air last week with our episode, where we actually counted up how many N1 shows there would be in between, basically if we had recorded next week instead of this week, and we realized we would have had to cover like a boatload of All Japan shows and 6 N1 shows, and we were like, that's going to be absolutely miserable. Let's just do like weekly until the N1 is over, basically.
Yeah, basically. I mean, there's a lot coming up, as we'll talk about, and then we've got like Peter Pan coming up, which we're going to review next week too. So it just made a lot of sense to go weekly, at least for this month, until I think things will probably slow down again in like mid-September and stuff like that. So we have a lot to get into. So let's start with All Japan. On the last episode, we only got to the first show of the Royal Road tournament. So we go back to, it feels so long ago after all the shows I've watched this weekend. It was only 5 days ago. August 11th at Nagoya International Conference Hall with 417 fans. And the first match of that show was Shotara Ashino defeating Dan Tamura in 10 minutes and 5 seconds with the ankle lock in the first round of the Royal Road tournament. I thought this was actually a pretty good match, all things considered. I really, like, Tamura and Ashino have really weird chemistry, and they always seem to deliver.
Yeah, but I will also say, whenever I see Ashino versus Tamura, that I'm thinking maybe Dan actually could go up to heavyweight, because he's not that much smaller than Ashino. Like, they're kind of the same height, and they're kind of similar build-wise as well. So, wondering maybe, because to me, Dan most of the time is like someone that will stay in the junior division, but in this match I was thinking maybe there is actually potential for him to move up to heavyweight.
Yeah, I think so. I could see Dan, like, I don't think he'd get very far, but I could see him like as half of like a world tag team champion, maybe.
Yeah, no. But then again, in the junior division, like, he can be champion and everything, and he can be kind of like a power junior with his build and everything. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, look what happened last time someone wanted to move up to heavyweight from the junior division. So
look, I mean, his gym is going well. He's opening like a second location, I think. So you know.
Well, we'll see if Iwamoto comes back in a couple of months, because he'll be back by January if he's coming back. Basically.
I mean, he's technically still under contract. So
yes, he is. So that was a good first little match. We go to number 2, and what I guess was somewhat of an upset. Takao Omori defeated Rayuki Honda in 6 minutes and 48 seconds with the Axe Bomber. This was a lot of fun too, like Omori, he's showing his age and everything, but he decided to turn it up here, and he worked really well with Honda, I thought, because they're just sort of like two, larger guys that just hit each other real hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember coming on here last week and being like, well, I'm sure Omori will have no problems putting Honda over, and then he hits the Axe Bomb and pins him in 6 minutes. But yeah, aside from that, it was a really good match, or a really fun match rather. Just kind of a quick sprint, and yeah, as I said, these two kind of match up really, really well, and Omori can still go when he wants to, or rather, if he kind of takes it easy normally, so that he can actually turn it up for matches like this, like when he's actually like given something that he can sink his teeth into.
Yeah. Do you think that there was a specific reason that they kept Honda and Nomura apart?
I could see maybe, I don't know. It might also be that they just wanted him out of the tournament quickly. I'm not quite sure why. To me, there isn't really a reason to keep those two apart. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they want to save the match as like a singles match, but I don't know. Still kind of a weird decision. Like, I don't think it really matters. Like, I don't think it matters which of these two would face Nomura in the next round. Like, I think either are fine, and I think it would have been a nice pickup for Honda to pin a former Triple Crown champion.
Well, I mean, he's pinned Omori before.
True.
And he's gotten a few wins, so I don't think this doesn't hurt Honda by any means.
It doesn't. It doesn't really matter. No. Yeah.
And then from there, we had a couple of tag matches of Voodoo Murder's 6-man that actually had a finish, But it was like Ryo Inoue getting pinned by Kono after a running knee. It was whatever. Jake Lee, Yuma Aoyagi, and Atsuki Aoyagi defeated Kento Miyahara, Rising Hayato, and Oji Shiba in 14-20 with the Firebird Splash from Atsuki on Hayato. That was a good match. Mm-hmm. They had a couple of 6-mans with basically these sort of teams throughout the tour, and they've always delivered. Then we go to the PWF World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Tiger Mask defeated Hokuto Omori in 12 minutes and 54 seconds with a reverse double armbar for his third defense of the title. This was not that good.
No.
It wasn't bad, but it was just kind of there. The last couple minutes sort of picked up, but I'm sick of Tiger Mask.
Yeah, no, it's like I can't wait for this reign to be over. Like, there was some potential there for some fun matchups, obviously, because it was all fresh matchups, but it also doesn't really feel like Tiger Mask gives a shit, to be honest. Like, it's just really feels like he's just going through the motions whenever he's on one of these shows.
Yeah, we'll get to someone else I want to talk about, but he does just look like the years have caught up to him too. Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah, and I think also he didn't have good chemistry with Omori either.
No,
that didn't help either. Like I said, I mean, you didn't like the match with Dan. I actually liked the match with Dan, because I thought those two had pretty good chemistry. But I definitely have enough. It definitely wasn't a disaster, but I have nothing really good to say about this match. Given how much I watched actually just for this show, I barely even remember anything that happened in this match, to be honest.
No, there wasn't much to remember. I still think the Tiger Mask's best match in All Japan was against Sato when he won the title.
Yeah, no, that is definitely still the best match. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about who challenged afterwards, but I actually think that has the potential to be his actual best match of the run. Is when he loses it.
That happened after this match, the challenge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Atsuki Aoyagi, which I think we were all sort of expecting, and that's definitely probably happening at Budokan because Tiger Mask is going to Mexico.
Yeah.
He'll be on a CMLL show this weekend, so he can't be at the Royal Road Tournament Finals. So that's got to be.
Do you think he's gonna have the title with him in Mexico?
I doubt it. Well, I mean, Kento's worked for Ultimo, and I don't know in Mexico, and I don't know what Ultimo and CMLL's relationship is because Ultimo has been in AAA this year, so I don't really know I'm guessing not.
What I will definitely say though is that I'm happy to be proven wrong. Because again, one thing, it really wasn't my best episode last week, I guess, for predictions. Because I was like, oh, this clearly means that Black Tiger and Tiger Mask is going to be the Budokan match. And then it was proven wrong like 2 days later.
Well, at least, it's good to be wrong in this case, I suppose.
Oh, no, I'm very, I actually wrote that in the Discord. I'm incredibly happy to be proven wrong here. This is exactly what they should be doing, and I'm happy that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, so...
before Tiger Mask beats Atsuki at Budokan.
This Tiger Mask, this is like the pure, we need a New Japan guy brain booking, because you had a whole story. If you had kept the title on Sato this whole time, that would have been one of the longer junior title reigns in quite some time.
Yep.
He's an established name. He's been in the company for years. Yep. And Atsuki finally beating him, but no, they wanted to go with some 50-year-old washed-up wrestler.
I guess Tiger Mask is kind of a name in All Japan history, but again, in terms of All Japan history for Tiger Mask, it's well known for being a terrible gimmick for Mitsuharu Misawa that he got so sick of that he literally unmasked live on the show. So I don't know if that's really the memory, or if that's really the history of the promotion that you want to remember. I mean, it was a big moment though, so...
Yeah, but this Tiger Mask not take it off his mask like that. So.
No, I don't think that will happen, and even if he does, I have doubts that it will have the same effect.
Yeah, and then to the Royal Road Tournament, another round 1 match. Cyrus defeated Shuji Ishikawa in 11 minutes and 30 seconds with the moonsault, which is something I suspected he was going to pull out. You know what? I like this match. Yeah. It was just the two big guys hitting each other. Now, it got a little wobbly towards the end. Cyrus got gassed. Cyrus had issues getting up for the moonsault to the point where I think it was Yuma Anzai that he called over, and he sort of used him to help him up to the top rope. But the actual moonsault itself actually looked pretty good.
Yeah. No, I'm actually positively, I think Cyrus actually fits. He just feels like one of those old school American heels, just a big dude coming into Japan to just fuck people up. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, there's definitely issues with his cardio. I think that also became apparent in a later match that he had that we're going to review next. Even though that match was shorter, I actually thought his cardio issues were even more apparent, but that might be because of who he was facing in that match.
Yeah.
But I think we were proven right here where we were saying, okay, Shuji Ishikawa clearly sees this guy as his personal project and he's going to put him over. And that's exactly what he did here. He sold his ass off. Yeah. He bumped way more than he normally does in his matches nowadays.
And then they shot an angle that they posted on their social media after the match where Cyrus barges into Miyaharu's dressing room and basically tells him he's going to kill him.
I love that. I loved it when I saw that happen. That's just really cool, old school kind of style. I think you said it reminds you of Stan Hansen.
Yeah, because
doing stuff like that, and that's exactly what this is.
When Stan Hansen debuted in All Japan, seconding Snuka and Brody in the finals of the 1981 Real World Tag League, if you watch the match, most versions of it have the stuff on the end where they're just running through the back yelling, and he's going "Baba, you son of a bitch, where are you?" and that kind of thing, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it sort of called back to me.
Yeah, no, this was really cool. So I think they're definitely behind Cyrus, and I definitely have a feeling that they're gonna bring him back whenever he leaves.
Yeah, for sure. If nothing else, the Booker man has to get his win back.
Yeah. I mean, he can do that in Tag League, team him with someone in Tag League, and then because I assume that Twin Towers are gonna be in there. So.
Yeah, and then in the main event, New Japan Dojo Collision. Yuji Nagata defeated Yoshitatsu in 14 minutes and 22 seconds with a backdrop hold. Now, this was not a bad match, but it just was there. Man, Nagata's washed it. It's so sad to see.
Mm. Yeah, I was also thinking that, because he hasn't really had much to sink his teeth into in New Japan, so I thought that he was one of those guys that could still go, but just I don't know,
I
the
don't
way
think
this
he-
has gone, it's...
I don't think he's phoning it in. Like, he looked exhausted after this
Yeah,
match.
exactly. Like I don't think it's not the same as Tiger Mask, where it's a lack of motivation and he's washed. Like Yuji Nagata is clearly motivated to do well, but it's just his body. Like he can't go anymore the way he wants to.
He is a consummate professional. He's not going to phone it in like this.
No. I mean, it's Yuji Nagata. Like motivation is never his issue. Like this, he's a guy that very clearly loves wrestling. He loves being in the ring. He loves like putting on matches, but like his body just doesn't listen to him anymore the way it used to maybe 20 years ago.
Right. Now, we'll talk about the next Nagata match, but obviously Yoshitatsu is, he's 46 and, no spring chicken either. So that doesn't help, although it's not horrible. But yeah, so it was just like a gentleman's three. But it just really got me thinking, because like everyone, people are like, oh, Nagata should still be in the G1, yada yada yada, but he's definitely fallen.
5 years ago, now no.
I would say, well, I mean, I guess you could, because he's sort of in the same generation, although he's showing his age too, I've said, but I think Kojima might be the third generation still left standing.
Yes.
In terms of who can still go.
He's slowed down a little bit, but I mean, we're going to talk about his N1 matches later, and Kojima's N1 matches blow Nagata's Royal Road matches out of the water. Like, it's not even close.
So that was the show on the 11th, and we go to the 14th. Yoshitatsu and Rising Hayato versus Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura went to a time limit draw. This is where Rising Hayato debuted the narcissist Rising Hayato gimmick. He's now got white cargo pants with black and purple stripes, and he's got his ears pierced, both of them.
Yeah.
And he's doing a pretty boy gimmick, and he's like, look at me, I'm the best looking wrestler in the company type thing.
So what are your thoughts on the gimmick?
I think it could work. He's really leaning into it.
Yeah. And it also, because I do actually like it, to me the problem is that there's kind of an upper limit on a gimmick like this.
Yeah.
But it can definitely work. And I think why it might work is because it doesn't result into him holding back in the ring. If anything, he actually upped his intensity. And
yes.
I think that's really the reason why. Because the chops he's been doing since he got this gimmick are nuts. They're so insanely loud. He really lays them in.
Have you noticed his new lion salt?
Oh yeah, the lion salt. It's beautiful too. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Majestic is the word I would use. It is awesome. So he's obviously, I suspected that he's going to be Atsuki's main rival.
Yeah.
And this is what the gimmick change is setting up.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely have that feeling. Because they have amazing chemistry. Whenever they faced off in matches on this tour, it's been amazing. The singles match has, we gushed about the singles match a couple of weeks back. And yeah, no, this really feels like it's setting up kind of a generational feud between the two. And that's actually another thing I think that we need to talk about, which was notable for this show specifically, is it wasn't clap crowd. It was a proper crowd. People were allowed to make noise.
Right. But
the first All Japan shows in years.
Yeah, since March or February of 2020. Yeah. I should say, though, and I noticed this on the 01 show, the crowds are reacting to big stuff, but they're not necessarily screaming or chanting, because they didn't chant for Kento.
Yeah, exactly. That was where I noticed it. I was so looking forward to the Kento chants being back, but
so was I. I was like, I'm going to cry when I hear those. Unfortunately, it did not happen. But just the fact that they will pop for the big stuff is good enough for me at this point, I think.
Yeah. No, I think maybe they need to kind of retrain. I think it's kind of because it's also still uncertain, because it only happens on some shows, and yeah, I think it's just kind of people are uneasy on what they're actually allowed to do.
Right.
They know they can make noise, but then they're also not quite sure, can we do it for the whole show? Because I remember, I don't know if you heard about that, when Ultimo Dragon did it on a Dragon Gate show, where he basically just told people on the house mic that they can't cheer. And then I think someone ratted them out to the municipality, and then they had to actually announce later that they actually, no, actually you're not allowed to cheer.
Oh, God. That's hilarious.
So maybe people are like a little apprehensive that they might not want to cheer too much because maybe they're afraid it's gonna get taken away if they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is just me, basically
Well,
spinning
I mean,
theories.
didn't New Japan open up their Korakuen shows and people aren't filling out the cheering sections? They're buying tickets to the quiet cheer section.
The thing is, Japan also is kind of in a bit of a COVID surge as well.
So
this might be people being like, yes, I know we are allowed to cheer, but we also want to do the right thing. And yeah, I don't know. Japan is in a very weird spot for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, like, how many people are simply not going to shows because of COVID, or how many people are unimpressed with what's going on. And I'm not just talking about all Japan, because Dragon Gate Jay on Open the Voice Gate made the point like that. The match at the Tokyo Dome, they put 56,000 people in there.
Yeah, and from the New Japan show today, they're up like they only drew like 12 people more than the Noah show did in Budokan, but it's also
night.
up like 1,300 people over night one last year.
Yeah.
So like whatever they draw for like the next night, like it's gonna like be a really big number for New Japan. Like it definitely seems like New Japan attendances are recovering, whereas I have to say right now all Japan attendances are not trending in the same direction. Like because like for example with the Nagoya show, like that one drew, because that one was 417 and in April they did 504. So it's like nearly 100 people less.
Yeah. So that's not great.
Yeah. I mean, this Shinkiba show sold well though.
Yeah. I don't think the bottom has completely gone off, but it's gone down a bit.
Yeah. Did you actually see what Big Japan recently drew in Shinkiba?
No.
89 fans.
Oh, yeah. They've done that a couple of times. It's not good. It's not good. And then after that, we had a three-way match. Black Menso Ray defeating Tajiri and Izanagi when he pinned them both at the same time. It was just a comedy match and setting up Menso Ray's challenge for the Gaora TV title. Yuma Aoyagi and Atsuki Aoyagi defeated Rayuki Honda and Yusuke Kodama in 9 minutes and 56 seconds with a Firebird splash from Atsuki on Kodama. This is another solid match. Not much to say about it, but just setting them up. All Asia Tag Team title match. Minoru and Toshizo defeated Takao Omori and Ryo Inoue with a Fisherman's Buster from Toshizo on Inoue. I don't know. It was fine, I guess.
Surprisingly little cheating, actually.
Yeah.
That was really noticeable to me.
Well, we'll get to it later, but there's even shockingly less today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, certainly, if you don't like Voodoo Murders, this was definitely not one of the eye-rolling and groan-inducing type matches.
It definitely feels like they've been pulling back from the cheating for title matches at least, because I assume people probably weren't happy about that.
Probably because of the Triple Crown match.
Yes.
Oh, God. So, I thought Inoue got more shine here, and that was really to me the main thing, but you don't have to go out of your way and see it.
No.
Now we had a match that was really an angle, sort of ECW style here. Jake Lee, Suji Ishikawa, and Hokuto Omori defeated Suwama, Taru, and Kono in 7 minutes and 34 seconds when Suwama was disqualified. And then there's a brawl, and then Yuma and Atsuki come out, and they get all heated, and then it becomes a 10-man tag. And then, Jake Lee, Shuji, Yuma, Atsuki, and Hokuto Omori go to a would defeat Suwama, Taru, Kono, Minoru, and Toshizo in 1 minute and 59 seconds when Taru gets disqualified. And, you can imagine what this is. But they basically have set those five, Jake, Shuji, Hokuto, and Atsuki, they've set themselves up as sort of the main army, home army against Voodoo Murders.
Yep, that was exactly my thoughts as well. This was clearly a Jake Lee face turn to me.
Yeah.
Same for Mori, who was already leaning pretty face-ish anyway. But they very clearly positioned these guys as the guys that are going to be kind of the main baby faces of the company kind of going forward. And there was one man noticeable in his absence.
Who?
Well, someone who was the main baby face of the company before this and might not be one for much longer. And that's Jake.
Right.
Not Jake, Kento.
I didn't read too much into it because I think Kento's going to be busy with the Triple Crown.
Yeah. Oh, you think he's not going to fight Voodoo Murderers? It's like going to be these guys that are going to try and kick Voodoo Murderers out of the company?
Well, here's what I think. I think there's a unit disbandment match on that Korakuen show that's after the Budokan, the day after.
So it's going to be Total Eclipse versus Voodoo Murderers?
Well, that team versus the other 5.
Okay.
I wish they'd bring
so
Shuji.
if Voodoo Murderers like loses, they have to leave All Japan again.
Or disband, because Suwama's not going to leave.
Yeah. But again, disband, like, it's complicated because they are in multiple promotions. And I'm pretty sure
exactly.
Taru owns the copyright.
Right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Or Taru has to leave All Japan.
Yeah. It's like basically like to get, like, the faction has to leave All Japan,
that would be a good way to just clean everything up quickly and make a clean break after the Budokan. I don't know. It was just a thought that came into it. Because, like, what are they putting on this Korakuen Hall show that means anything?
Yeah, and you can probably have Toshizo lose the Gaora title on there as well. Because he's probably going to lose the All Asia title at the Budokan. Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense.
And hopefully, I mean, like, I'm sorry, but if Voodoo Murders go past Budokan, then, like, that's a big problem.
Yeah, that is a very big issue.
I mean, they shouldn't really be here anyway.
No.
But, like I said originally, before all of this went down, well, before Suwama won the Triple Crown, like, okay, if this is like 4 or 5 months, they're out after Budokan, fine. Now, I didn't realize it was going to get this ridiculous, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like, I have a feeling the Budokan shows very much are going to be about the history of the promotion, which makes sense that it's because it's the 50th anniversary. And Voodoo Murderers are definitely a relatively large part of the history of the promotion, but yeah, I wouldn't build the show around them, let's put it that way.
No.
Oh, I wouldn't have, because that's what they're doing, so.
Now, is the sort of unglorious decline of Total Eclipse, was that a missed opportunity to tell a story of their falling apart, like, in a different way? They just kind of faded away.
Yeah, but that's kind of what happened. Like, I agree, but it's also what happens to every stable in All Japan.
Yeah, well, that's the problem,
yeah,
right?
it is. It is. I mean, it's also like, I mean, Koji Doi are basically gone. Like, Koji Doi won the Colliga title. Like,
I
don't
put that
think
in our
he's
notes,
gonna,
and I'm like, is that a sign that he's not going to be around for a while?
Yeah, that's the feeling I got as well. Because again, neither him nor Kumarashi are really involved in this tournament at all. Like, they haven't really worked the promotion at all regularly. Mm-hmm. So,
well, because they're paying Nagata and Tiger Mask
I
instead.
guess so.
That's what I think, but
I mean, Koji Doi isn't really someone that, like, blows my doors off, but I'd probably rather have him than, like, the bones of Yuji Nagata.
I'd take Koji Doi over Kono.
I mean, I'll take him over a lot of Voodoo Murderers people, with maybe the exception of Suwama and Tanaka.
Yeah. And then so from there, we had another first round 2 match of the tournament. Kento Miyahara defeated Cyrus in 7 minutes and 2 seconds with the jackknife hold. Again, I thought, Cyrus played his role well. I mean, he just came out of the gate, was doing like the Vader hammer blows in the corner and everything like that. Kento kicked out of the Vader bomb, hit the blackout knee, and then the roll up. Cyrus got gassed here too, but I mean, he managed to get some good pops out of the crowd for just kicking the shit out of Kento.
Yeah, and he got a really good big pop, like, in the post match as well, when he threw the referee out of the ring.
Yeah,
like, he's over. But as I said, I thought it was actually even more noticeable that he got gassed in this match, despite the fact that it was only 7 minutes. But that might be because he was up against Kento, who was is literally the opposite, because Kento's just a stamina monster. And I do think Cyrus struggled a little bit at times to keep up with Kento's speed. But whenever he was on offense, it was really, really good.
And then the main event, another round 2 match. Yuji Nagata defeated Shotara Ashino in 14 minutes and 21 seconds with a backdrop hold. I sort of expected this result when I saw the brackets. I actually liked this match. I gave it a 3 2/3 rating because I can't really give this 3 3/4, but like to like bring something good out of Nagata at this point, I thought.
Yeah, it was fine. But given the outcome of this match, was Nagata correct in not in failing Shotaro Ashino on the New Japan dojo test?
Okay, so I wish they didn't run that angle because it just makes Ashino look like a geek.
Yes, it absolutely does. And then he loses.
To the 53-year-old?
As a champion.
Yeah.
But to be fair, both tag team champions just dropped the people over 50.
Hopefully, Shotara Ashino doesn't start tweeting that he wants to be in the World Tag League this year.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Or starts talking about stuff he wants to do with Tanahashi.
Yeah. The show, which I thought, was a pretty easy watch. It was like 2 hours. The cheering was fun.
Yep.
And, forgot to mention, after the All Asia Tag Team title match, Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura came out to challenge, but then out of nowhere, Soma Watanabe and Yu Yazuka of Great came out and also challenged. And so from the sounds of things, Watanabe and Izuka are going to challenge first and in Great. Okay. So I'm sorry, Great fans, but the Voodoo Murderers are coming.
So you mean Liam, because that's like the only one.
But now, to be fair, Minoru Tanaka is a great wrestler.
Yeah. And he has worked a promotion before. I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he did, yeah. And I mean, he's always been kind of a Lidet associated person anyway, so that makes perfect sense. But yeah, it is going to be interesting how Voodoo Murderers do in that promotion.
Well, it's kind of interesting also because you got Toshizo, two sort of Battle Arts alumni against sort of like the young shoot style influence guys.
Because they are from the... And it is actually interesting which side of the promotion they're actually going to do this in. If this is just going to be like regular or if this is going to be on the
I
WWF
would assume
side.
Probably regular rules. It's fine. Like Minoru can get a win over either of them because he's like a great contracted guy.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's too big a deal. I think it actually could be a really good match if they don't do any bullshit.
Yeah, again, that's the question though, because it is still going to be the Voodoo Murderers version of Minoru Tanaka.
Yeah.
So.
Now Great's got that show I think on the 24th with the tag title tournament in Kento versus Tetsuya Izuchi. I don't know when that's been announced because then I assume that Dan and Hikaru Sato are getting their title shot at Budokan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, as much as I said, I wish the Saitos came in and squashed Voodoo Murders. It also makes sense for Dan and Sato to take the titles off of them.
But it might also be a case that maybe they just actually have no trust in the Saitos to really do anything.
Well, we'll see where they're positioned when they get back, I guess. And then so we go to the show today that I just watched on the 16th at Hodogayo Public Hall. So the opening match actually was kind of fun. It was Suwon 6 seconds after the double chop. Inoue took a beating, but he actually got a chance to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was cool, and it was a fun little opener for what it was.
Yep, no, definitely fine match, and Inoue shows that he just has a ton of potential. But obviously, at this stage, he's not going to be competitive with literally the champion of the promotion.
Yeah. So the second match was Shotara Ashino and Rayuki Hana in a non-title match, defeating Hikaru Sato and Dan Tamura in 9 minutes and 10 seconds when Ashino pinned Tamura after a T-bone suplex. This was pretty good. Here's my issue. This was a 10-minute time limit match. They could have just had a 10-minute draw because you're trying to have Sato and Tamura challenge for titles soon. Right.
Here's my issue. The match happened at all. Like, it's wrestling. Yeah. You don't have to book this match if you want to have if one team are the champions and the other team are challenging for a different set of titles. You just don't book the match.
Yeah, exactly. Ideally.
Yes.
This match was Yoshitatsu, Tajiri, and Cyrus defeating Shuji Shikawa, Izanagi, and Ren Ayabe, 9 minutes and Cyrus pinned Izanagi after some like facebuster move. It's called, what was it even? It's like, I'm just reading off the results.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, let me see if Purolov has it up already.
It didn't.
Okay.
So I just took it off
the actual website.
All Japan website, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? I have also thought that was just a Vader bomb, but yeah, might just be a weird translation error.
Anyway, it was fine, but it was just like another like just get Cyrus over type thing. And then the Gaora TV title match, Toshizo defeated Black Mensaray in 10 minutes 10 seconds with a Fisherman's Buster. I mean, this is a perfectly acceptable match. It was Toshizo's first defense. But what I thought was interesting, zero cheating at all. At one point, Toshizo takes his weight belt off. Referee Nikon Lee starts the 5 count, and then he drops it at like 3, and then they just wrestle a straight match.
Yeah, I was literally sitting there the entire time waiting, okay, so when is the bullshit gonna start? And it never did. They just, I mean, I don't think it was like, I still didn't really like the match, because to be honest, I didn't really care, because I don't think Black Mensaray is really like a credible challenger for like almost any title. So I just wasn't really invested into the match at all, but I mean, it was technically fine match, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was perfectly acceptable. A little slow at the beginning, but the last couple minutes were fine with the near falls.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Yuma Aoyagi, Atsuki Aoyagi, and Hokuto Omori. That's a very new team in a lot of ways. They defeated Kento Miyahara, Rising Hayato, and Oji Shiba in 14 minutes and 17 seconds when Atsuki pinned Shiba with the Firebird Splash. This was great.
Yeah.
This was really great. Like, Hayato was in full swing of his new character, just letting everyone know how good looking he is, and had some great exchanges with Atsuki, and so did Shiba. I actually thought there was some stuff between Atsuki and Kento that was really good too. Sort of went toe to toe with Kento, and just like another like great 6-man tag match. So if you're gonna just watch the tournament shows on this show, I would recommend like watching this as well.
Yeah, you can skip almost every other like non-tournament match, but yeah, I think you should definitely watch this one. This was just a ton of fun. As you said, like Hayato just kind of showed off all of the like parts of his new character. What I was really impressed by was Shiba, because he just really looked like he belonged, basically. Like, he didn't look out of place at all. Mm-hmm. So if he can stay healthy, then I think he's definitely like a guy they should like just book regularly as well, and just make him kind of a like a relatively big part of the junior division.
Oh, I agree 100% with that. And I should note that Yuma, Atsuki, and Hokuto, they all came out just wearing like All Japan logo shirts.
Yep.
And we're like, hey, look at us.
Yeah, especially Hokuto was very
wrestlers.
insistent on that.
Yeah. And he's now, what is it? Wolf Moon of Rebellion instead of the North Wolf.
It's the most Japanese thing ever. Like, would only be more Japanese if he had written it in like German instead of English.
I don't know what exactly that is, but yeah, not Total Eclipse anymore.
No, definitely not. Like, he's out of the faction. So like I mean, at this point, it's just Jake, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Officially.
If Kumadoi aren't
still
around, then it's just him.
Yeah, because they never actually said they left.
Yeah.
But Kodama and Hokuto have, and Tajiri did too.
Yeah.
And then so we go into the quarterfinals. Naoya Nomura defeated Takao Omori, I know, in 10 minutes and 45 seconds with some sort of arm bar. I couldn't get a good look at it because it was a single cam show. And so Nomura was sort of blocking the camera. But I really liked this. Like, it was simple formula. Like, Nomura comes at him hard at the beginning. And then, Omori hits his arm when they're brawling on the outside on the ring post. Nomura gets starts to work over the arm. Omori gets some big moves in the last couple of minutes, but then just like, Nomura catches Omori when he's going for an axe bomber, puts him in the arm bar, makes him tap out. I thought it was a lot of fun. Omori worked hard, and Nomura established himself now as like, more of a threat, like his submission guy now type thing.
Yeah. No, it was a perfectly acceptable match. Like, I don't think it was great or anything, but Omori, as you said, like, he worked hard. And Nomura, like, he's definitely, like, they are willing to push him. Like, I mean, we were kind of suspecting that they might actually have him go all the way to the finals. And I think I'm definitely still thinking that that's what they're doing. And yeah, like, I really hope that this means that he is just back as a regular now.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. And then in the main event, Jake Lee defeated Takuya Nomura in 15 minutes and 14 seconds with the D4C. I thought this was kind of disappointing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad, but like, First of all, did you notice that Jake was still subtly working as a heel in this?
Yeah. I mean, he's also still wearing the total Eclipse tights as well.
Yeah.
No, it was definitely very weird where he did the big angle on the show prior where, like, he's, like, basically a part of, like, the big baby faces, and then he just still did the same stuff he's been doing for the last couple of months in this match. It was a very odd decision. I'm also kind of sad that they didn't go the Nomura versus Nomura route. I actually would have loved to see that match. But
yes.
I think Jake versus Nomura could be, like, really good too as well.
Yeah, but this match like just didn't live up to my expectations.
No, not at all. Like I definitely had really high expectations for this. And
first half was like a whole lot of nothing. Then they started kicking each other hard, but like Jake was like bam, like backdrop D4C, it was over, right?
Yeah, I mean maybe these guys just don't really have good chemistry because like they didn't face each other in the Champion Carnival.
No. Nomura definitely has chemistry with Yuma and Kento.
Yeah. So I don't know, like maybe like him and Jake just don't really match up well. So
I could also see Jake not wanting to bust his ass because he's probably got 2 matches on the next show, or no, at least one match.
At least one match. Actually, I mean, we can talk about that as well now. Kind of
well,
what our expectations are.
because we go on to August. I'm still going with a Kento Nomura final.
Yeah, that's still my expectation as well.
I don't think they're. Well, remember they made a whole bit. Well, who knows what the booking changes have. They made a whole big deal about like Kento versus Jake for the last time.
Yes, exactly. And then you just immediately bring it back like 4 weeks later.
And I think, giving Nomura wins over Jake and Yuma is good because that can carry that feud going after Budokan. Mm-hmm. Or maybe in Budokan we'll see who they face, right?
I'm actually very curious now because for the longest time I thought Yuma and Nomura were going to do something at the Budokan.
Yeah.
But now I'm not so convinced anymore given that Yuma is now more in a feud with Voodoo Murderers.
Well, we'll see, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a feeling for that.
Okay, if we're just basing this off of Nomura's going to the final, right? Does he have a chance to win?
No. Although it would be a great swerve at this point. Yeah. Anything to freshen up All Japan.
Yeah. But again, like, are they going to main event their 50th anniversary show with Suwama versus Naoya Nomura?
No.
I mean, here's the thing. That would have been a realistic main event if he had never left. Like, okay, in this case, imagine Nomura never left. Is this a credible main event for the 50th anniversary?
If Nomura never left, a credible main event was Nomura finally beating Kento for the Triple Crown.
Yes. But we know that that's not the road they were ever going to go down anyway, because then he would have just done that exact same thing, but with Yuma instead.
Yeah. Well, it's also possible if Nomura never left, would have won the Triple Crown by this point.
Yes.
So, like, this isn't a defense of All Japan's booking during the pandemic, but there was definitely a period when the pandemic started for quite some time where they pulled back, and I think Suwama got that reign longer than he would have under normal circumstances because they just wanted to see if this thing would end and then return to what they had planned.
Yeah.
So if Nomura hadn't left, well, the pandemic still happens, and I think they would have sort of slowed down their booking. I don't know, but Suwama versus Nomura is perfect. Like, Nomura versus anybody, Nomura main eventing the Budokan would have been very credible if he had never left, basically. Yeah. Or gotten injured, I guess.
Yeah.
I think.
So, I mean, it is clearly going to be Kento versus Suwama, but I'm just wondering, like, if they really want to pull a swerve, that would be, like, really interesting thing to do. Like, it would be a really big bet on Nomura, but I don't think they're willing to do that, but...
No.
Yeah.
And then, so on August 20th, we've got Kento Miyahara versus Yuji Nagata and Jake Lee versus Naoya Nomura. It's funny to think that Tiger Mask may end up getting better treated in All Japan than Yuji Nagata.
Yeah, because I would assume that Nagata's going to lose here.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then that's going to be rough.
It's bad. Well, I don't understand what this whole, why have they been so focused on Kento so much?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the whole feud is built around that.
Also announced is Sushi, Andy Wu, and Black Menso Ray versus Hikaru Sato, Dan Tammer, and Ryo Inoue.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think I've been predicting that for a while now. So no, this just seems incredible. Like I said, we're just gonna have Voodoo. Like that's what I mean. They literally built the entire 50th anniversary show around Voodoo Murderers because they're gonna be in all of the title matches.
In there
Uh,
instead of Taru.
yeah, they could,
Oh, God.
unless Kondo is
I
just
wish.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
But he isn't really. Like he lost his title match with Hayata. He wasn't in a title match on the Dragon Gate show, so
Noah's not going to use him either
Yeah.
because they got the N1.
Yeah.
And they don't have much in September.
yeah, no.
Except for at
But
the
I
beginning.
think we're gonna get Taru and Kono. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna win at the very least, so that's good.
Oh, no. Because I'm still relatively bullish on the Voodoo Murders stopping after Budokan.
Yeah, I mean, they'd better.
I would not bet $1,000 on that, though. But I'm relatively confident. Maybe I'd put
Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor, HelloFresh. Now, what is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Savor every last second of summer with HelloFresh. HelloFresh delivers fresh quality produce from the farm to your door in less than a week, allowing you to enjoy the delicious flavors of the season right from home. Heading out for one last vacation? Update your delivery address and enjoy HelloFresh at your vacation destination with just a click. Plans are flexible, so they work with your changing schedule. And I know with August, I go away, maybe go visit my parents, maybe go to a cottage and something like that. So I'm not around for deliveries. So that sort of flexibility is great at this time of year. And you can get back into the fall season because it's going to be busy. But weeknights can be made so much easier with foolproof step-by-step recipes ready in about 30 minutes. So you can go to HelloFresh.com/VOW16 and use code VOW16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. Remember, that is HelloFresh.com/VOW16, and VOW16 is all one word. Now to the N1 victory. Paul, what are your overall thoughts so far?
I will definitely say it's been a good tournament overall so far. There hasn't really been anything that I would call like a match of the year contender yet. Like there have been some really, really good matches, but there's nothing been where I'm like, oh, this is like something that I'm gonna put on like my like year-end list. But there also hasn't really been anything bad so far. So I think just overall it's been like a really solid tournament, and there's still like plenty of time for them to like put on like real bangers, because there's matches that's gotten very, very close to that status.
Definitely. Now, Paul,
Not really. It's kind of a thing that hopefully maybe once the N1 is done and like that schedule slows down, I kind of plan to like do some like selective G1 viewing basically.
to say is, would it have been fair to say that this tournament has a higher floor than the G1?
I mean, I've heard, because I haven't, like I said, I haven't really watched that much, but I've heard from people that there have been some dreadful shows for the G1 where there was just nothing to sink your teeth into and it was just boring. And we definitely haven't gotten that. And I think that's the strength of the N1, because it is a smaller tournament and both blocks like wrestle every night. Like I think that really helps the tournament like to like feel exciting overall.
Yes, definitely. Although there's something choices made that I will tear apart. So we go to the first show at the Yokohama Budokan on August 11th, drawing 940 fans. What do you think of that number? Because I think you can get like 4,000 people in there technically.
Yeah. I mean, I remember talking earlier in the year about the Max Bump show of DDT with Endo versus Ueno. And that drew kind of a similar number. And they actually drew a little less than that. So, like, I definitely don't think this is a good number. As said, like, the DDT number was even worse than that. And I think there have been some other numbers in there that were even worse than that, but it's definitely not a great number either. Like, I'm kind of neutral on the number.
Right. Not a disaster, but not great.
Not a disaster, but it's also not like. I think they actually drew like a little bit more than they did on their last show in there. So it is definitely pointing upwards, but it's not massive growth at the moment.
Yeah. So I'll skip all of the tag matches on the undercard except for one that I'll get to later. So for the first N1 match in Block B, Katsuhiko Nakajima defeated Masa Kitamiya in 10 minutes and 36 seconds with the vertical spike. This was like a condensed version of the matches that they usually have. I mean, it was good, not like great, but like, you know, they kicked the shit out of each other, and basically that's what you want from these two.
Yep, no, it was a Nakajima versus Kitamiya match. I kind of felt they were playing the hits more or less, and I mean, but it makes sense to make this the first match to kind of get people into the mood for the N1 and everything, and it perfectly served its purpose for that. But these two have definitely had better matches against each other, though.
And in A block, Masato Tanaka defeated Anthony Green in 11 minutes and 21 seconds with the sliding D. This was okay, although I think Green would get a little more comfortable later on in some of the other shows.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Green, we're going to talk about later, but I've been really positively surprised by Green. I think he's adapted really well to the tournament, but yeah, this was also just okay. But I would definitely put that more on Tanaka, because I've had my issues with Tanaka in this tournament. But
oh, really?
We'll
okay.
get into that more later.
I'm a little more positive maybe on Tanaka than you in some of the other later matches. We'll see.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And then Masakatsu Funaki defeated Kinya Okada in 7 minutes and 49 seconds with the referee stop with the sleeper hold. I mean, it was pretty good for what it was. I thought Okada got in some stuff in there. Like, you know, I mean, it was what it was. It was still Funaki dominating him mostly, though.
Yeah, and that's really been the thing that's been happening for most of these Okada matches. Like, it's definitely a formula there where he will just get dominated. But I mean, we kind of expected that.
Yeah. Although there was a later Okada match that I thought was actually kind of fun. The next one, Hideki Suzuki in A block defeated Misaki Mochizuki in 14 minutes and 35 seconds with a double arm suplex. I really like this. I thought it was a really great, like, technical and strike battle for sure.
Yeah, it's actually Mochizuki so far has been my MVP for the tournament. I've actually liked all of the matches that he's had so far.
Yeah.
And he matched up really well with Suzuki here. Like, I was actually surprised that Suzuki was the guy that was selling for most of the match, because Mochizuki just kicked the shit out of him, and Suzuki like sold it really well, like his desperation, and it really felt like he just barely managed to like just escape with the victory, basically, where he kind of like managed to like catch Mochizuki with the suplex and then got out of there after he got like dominated for most of the match. But yeah, this was like, to me, this was definitely like one of the best matches of the entire tournament so far.
Yeah, it definitely was great. So check that one out. That's a recommendation for sure.
Yes, definitely.
In the N1 victory block B, Jack Morris defeated Kaito Kiyomiya in 11 minutes and 50 seconds with a Tiger Driver.
So what do you think? Is Kaito ruined for eternity now because of this result?
I don't know, but I don't...
No,
like,
he's not.
I think you could have given Morris the shock upset to someone else.
Yes, you definitely could have done that. But I also don't think that, like, the legacy of Kaito Kiyomiya isn't going to be defined by him losing on the first night of the N1. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, given some of his subsequent performances, it's looking less and less. Look, I got to say, I think there's potential there with Jack Morris.
Yes, definitely. I've definitely been positively surprised by him. Like, he fits in.
And it's
like,
funny because he was he's like in the Scottish Indies mostly, right? Like ICW and that.
Yeah.
And no one really knew who he was, but like he's a pretty good wrestler.
Yeah.
So
it seems that he actually got in through this whole thing where they like opened applications for wrestlers, basically.
I will say, definitely a good eye by Noah on this one compared to some of the other foreigners they've brought over this year.
Definitely. I mean, in this case, it is also just like a guy that like no one knew before. Like it was like they actually did some talent scouting rather than just bring in guys that happened to be in WWE at the same time as Hideki Suzuki.
Yeah. And then after that, we had in Block A, Keno defeating Ahio to Dr. Wagner Jr. in 15 minutes and 3 seconds. The sleeper hold. It was good, but like it just never got into like that next gear, I thought.
No, to me, there's like just a really clear kind of ceiling for like what we can expect from like Wagner Jr. singles matches.
Well, I would say ones that go this long, too.
Yes,
He's a
too.
10-minute guy, I think.
Yeah, there's really only so much you can get out of him, and I think Kano like did well with what he was given, but yes, there just isn't that much more he could have gotten out of this specific opponent.
And I only mention this tag match because of how ridiculous it is. Naomichi Marufuji, Ahio Del Santo, and Ultimo Dragon defeated the Perros team of Nosawa, Kotaro Suzuki, and Super Crazy in 9 minutes and 29 seconds when Santo, who do you think he made submit in this one, Paul? Who do you think would love to do the job to Santo?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Super Crazy is a fellow Mexican, right? And I mean, I'm sure Kotaro Suzuki has some reverence for someone like Santo, but no, it obviously was Nosawa.
Yes. Never been so happy to tap out for someone, I'm sure.
No, yeah. With a big
well,
smile
except
on his
for
face.
maybe Mil Mascaras would be the only one.
Well, I mean, and then afterwards is probably something that he wants to do even more because they teased a hair versus mask match between Ultimo, Santo, and himself, and was it Super Crazy? I think
it was Crazy, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But again, he's going to be a very happy man to like shave his head when he loses that match.
Exactly. Yeah. So the vanity stuff, Nosawa vanity in the junior division continues. So back to the N1 in B block. Takashi Sugiura defeated Satoshi Kojima in 16 minutes and 54 seconds via referee stoppage from a front net lock. This was disappointing, I thought. Like, you know, they kind of just went out there and then it was over. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, given that both men kind of have a claim to be like the best wrestlers, like over 50, I definitely expected a bit more from this. And also given like the performance both men have had like in the rest of the tournament, like especially with hindsight, it is actually kind of a disappointing match.
For sure, because they both would improve things later. So yeah, I mean, don't worth checking it out. I mean, had they had a match before? They must have, right?
Yeah, they actually had. I think I actually looked it up. They had a singles match in the Global League a few years back, actually.
I have to check that out because I bet you that was good. I don't know.
That one was probably better than this one. Yeah. So if you want to watch Sugiura versus Kojima, watch them when they had a match in the Global League. I think in 2011. I think was when that happened.
And in the main event,
no, it would have been whenever. When did New Japan have a stake in Noah?
Well, this would have been like some time between 2013 and 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 2013 or something like that was when that happened, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. And he's also back to being blonde.
Yeah, and he's back to being blonde. Those tights are ugly, I'm sorry.
They're horrific. I don't think I've seen anyone say anything good about them. Especially
given how, like, I thought his last look was pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
A little Muto influence.
It's one of the things. It's one of the things we actually talked about when we talked about that specific match. Where I was like, no, I actually liked the new look he got based on that. Like, it was actually a pretty good look. And then he just is like, no, I'm gonna go back to blonde and I'm gonna dress like a circus clown.
Yeah, like real like Harlequin like energy. Like he'd be in some.
Yeah, or goes to like the carnival in Rio or something. Yeah, did you see Keno bury it on his YouTube channel?
Yes. Like God. And then Keno's a perfect person to do that too.
Yeah. I mean, in a way that actually enhances their feud, but yeah. I mean, obviously Keno would bury it.
And then in the main event in Block A, Kazuyuki Fujita defeated Go Shiozaki in 20 minutes and 46 seconds with the powerbomb. And we're on the topic of looks. What do you think of Fujita's new look?
I actually like this old look better, to be honest.
Yeah, he looks like Alexander Otsuka's
long
lost
bad.
brother.
Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as the new Kaito look, but I definitely prefer this previous look.
I don't know.
Although I do like him growing a little bit of facial hair.
Sure, but I feel like brighter colors just seem weird on him.
Yes, yeah, no, he's not a guy that like should wear like bright colors. Like he should be like more like a dark colored guy.
Yeah, he just dressing
like fits better with his gimmick as well.
Yeah. As for the match, not bad. they took a little bit to get going. It was 20 minutes, which, with Fujita is an issue. But I thought it got pretty good in the end, and they were kicking the shit out of each other.
Yeah. No, definitely. This was a pretty good match. Like, not as good.
This was their best singles match, if you ask me.
Need to think about it, but I would probably agree on it. I would definitely say it was one of the better matches on the show as well. Like, I don't think it got close to the Suzuki vs. Mochizuki match.
No.
But
it was better than Sugiura and Kojima.
Yes, definitely. I don't think you need to go out of your way to watch this match, but it's also not a match that you should skip if you watch it, if that makes sense.
And so that was the first night, and then we go into night 2 at the Osaka Edion Arena, number 2, 505 fans. That's par for the course of what most companies are drawing there these days.
Yeah, that's pretty much in line. That's just kind of it's a decent number.
Plus, they're coming back on September, I think, 3rd to Edion number 1 for the finals. So
yeah, that is going to be much more of an interesting test for the drawing ability than this one.
So for the N1 in this show, Block A, Go Shiozaki defeated Anthony Green with the strong arm lariat in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. This was much better than Green versus Tanaka.
Yeah,
I thought.
No, I like this. I like this a lot. And this was because I was after the Tanaka match, I was okay, this Green actually, and I was no, actually, once he faced off against Go Shiozaki, that was actually a really fun match on this one.
Yeah. I think you liked it a little more than I. I actually think Green's best match of the tournament so far comes on the next show.
Yeah, no, I agree. But after the previous match, I was
right.
I still had some hesitations. But after this one, I was oh yeah, no, he fits.
No, I think after this tour, Green actually will probably fit in quite well to Noah, much better than I might have suspected at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
In Block B, Satoshi Kojima defeated Kinya Okada in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. I like this actually a fair amount for what it was, because Kojima actually let Okada have more than any of the opponents in his other matches during this tournament, really.
Yeah. No,
because Kojima is an unselfish guy.
Yeah, no, he is. He gave Okada, comparatively, he gave him a lot, I think we need to say. It's not he let him have a lot, but he definitely gave him more than his other two opponents have let him have so far. And yeah, and again, this was quite fun. It was definitely also a positive sign, coming out of the previous night was okay, maybe Kojima has slowed down, and he showed here no, he hasn't. He just both men just had an off night on that night, and he just was right back to his previous strength on this match. And
Paul, have you been listening to the shows on English commentary?
Yes.
Have you noticed that they're still calling Kojima the greatest X in history?
They've kind of also done that on the Noah socials, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's just what his name is now. I mean, given how many times he has been X over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months actually, I think it actually makes sense. I mean, it's a weird gimmick, Satoshi X Kojima, I guess.
Someone needs to get a bigger X than Kojima. I'm sorry. I love Kojima. He's one of my favorite all time, but he's not the greatest X in history. I'm sorry.
No. I
laugh every time I hear it. And then to the A block, where we start to talk about some of the bullshit. Hiyoto Dr. Wagner Jr. defeats Kazuyuki Fujita in 9 minutes and 23 seconds with the Kazadora.
So what do you mean this means for the future of Wagner Jr. after this win?
Well, I don't know much, because there's always been a thing where guys who even don't like to do jobs in Japanese wrestling will still do jobs to the foreigners because it's a little politically different.
Well, I'm not even sure if I would call this a job, even, to be honest.
Well, no, that's the thing. It was this. Speaking of ripping off New Japan, they basically ripping off the Will Ospreay, the ref is screwing me angle.
Yeah.
Because, his shoulders weren't down, and it was done in such a way that the ref really probably couldn't see that. Fujita's shoulders were down,
And then he literally put up a video calling it a controversial finish.
Yeah, which knows that it was, legitimately how it was supposed to be booked. That's just embarrassing. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it was an awful finish.
Yeah.
I did see some people kind of slightly overreact to this result. I mean, what I will say is doesn't, like, the thing is for this, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you shouldn't care this much about a fucking random ass El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. result on night 2 of the N1. But what I will also say, that also goes for Kazuyuki Fujita. He should also not care this much about this match. He should just fucking do the job and not have this whole fucking elaborate scenario around it where he loses the match, but also he doesn't really. Like, he should just fucking man up. Like, he's so fucking insecure. Like, that's really the thing that bothers me about him. Like, he's so insecure that he can't even do a clean job here. Like, fucking grow up.
I guess what I would say, though, is it depends on who, like, if Fujita puts anyone else over in this tournament, it will probably affect my feelings looking back at this result. I will be more forgiving if he puts someone else over later on in this tournament, I guess. Did that make sense?
Actually, you know what? Actually, that's worse to me.
Really?
Yes, because if he just always has this kind of bullshit finishes now, at the very least it's consistent, whereas you had to do this bullshit finish here, like, why? Like, it's just Dr. Wagner Jr. It doesn't matter if you put him over clean. It's not going to affect your status at all.
I guess.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Like, that's really my main takeaway is, like, why don't you just get fucking pinned clean? Like, because, okay, worst case scenario, you get pinned on a roll-up. Like, it's still a banana peel finish, but then on top of that, you also have the bullshit where your fucking arm is up and, like, really far up, like it was almost sticking fucking 90 degrees up, and then you have to have, like, the YouTube channel put up a video calling it a controversial result. Like, it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah. I would have even taken the old getting pinned when you're putting a sleeper on a guy because he, like, shifts his legs.
Yeah, there's just so much unnecessary effort that went into this entire scenario. Yeah.
So let's go to something more uplifting. Block A. Keno defeated Misaki Mochizuki in 13:32 with the Dragon Suplex hold. I thought this was great.
Yeah, no, this was really good. This is probably my second or third best match of the tournament so far. This was just two guys just going balls to the wall. And I love the finishing sequence as well, where they just both kept reversing, like, the Dragon suplex hold, basically, until Keno just managed to get it and just pin him off of it. Yeah. Like, it just felt a match between two equals.
Definitely. I'd put this maybe 3, I think, so far, of the show. The tournament. Yeah. Mochizuki doing a lot of jobs. I'm sure he'll get some wins on the back end, but that's interesting.
No, it is definitely. Like, maybe he is getting towards the end of his Noah run, because he is... Like, it is also interesting that he is actually dropping quite a bit, because he's a champion in Dragon Gate.
Right.
He's the Triangle Gate champion with his son. Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who does get win over. I mean, he's done a lot of jobs in Noah, if you really think about it. Although he did get his token, like, national title run for, like, what was it, like a month, if even that?
Yeah. It was a 0 defense title reign as well. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. No, but like I said, he's definitely been my MVP so far, because I just really liked all of the matches he's had so far.
Then we go to Block B. Masa Kitamiya defeats Kaito Kiyomiya in 18 minutes and 54 seconds with the prison hold. Paul, this was my favorite match of the tournament so far.
Same. I was just about to say the exact same thing.
It was great.
Like, this was really good, yeah. I've been really positively impressed by Kitamiya, because he can always be a little bit inconsistent.
Yes.
But so far, he's just been firing on all cylinders.
He has been great this tournament, too, really. And it's credit,
But Kaito was great here as well. Like, he just sold his ass
off
for
Kitamiya. Like, that was an important part. Like, I know there are people that really like Kitamiya, and I'm like, I think he's slotted pretty fairly, like, occasional title challenger, like, wins the tag title often. But, I mean, if he's going to continue to perform at the level that he has been so far in this tournament, I guess I actually wouldn't be against more of a push or anything. Like, this was just great. And
no, I think he might be in line for a title shot pretty soon.
Yeah.
And there's a very specific, not the JHC title, but I think he's winning the national title.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. And he'd be an ideal national title champion.
Yeah, because that belt needs some revival after the really weird Funaki reign.
Yes, very weird. And then we go to Block A. Hideki Suzuki defeats Masato Tanaka in 15 minutes and 24 seconds with the Royal Stretch. I really like this too. I know you had your Tanaka issues, but I thought Hideki reined in his worst tendencies and sort of like actually had them build a proper match with all of this.
Yeah, to me, I mean, for me, the issue was basically it's not really believable that Tanaka can go toe-to-toe with Hideki Suzuki on the mat. Like, sorry. I love Tanaka. Tanaka is good. Like, the things Tanaka is good at, he's really good at. But he's a brawler. He's not a technician.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's just not believable that he can, like, go toe-to-toe with one of the best technical wrestlers on the entire planet. Like, that was really my main issue with this entire match, where, like, if Tanaka had just tried to, like, brawl with, like, try to, like, throw Suzuki off his game by, like, trying to brawl with him, but instead he, like, tried to have a technical match with him, which to me, like, that just doesn't really work.
Honestly, I think that's, like, the big difference about our levels of enjoyment on this, because that just simply didn't, like, come into my head when I was watching this. Mm-hmm. And I think that's some of the reason why I enjoyed it more. But like, you would still say that it was a good match.
It was not a bad match. It was still overall a good match. I just had a hard time buying into certain parts of the match, basically.
Are you looking forward to the Masato Tanaka Timothy Thatcher match when he returns?
I mean, again, actually in this case, it depends on what they're
Thatcher
going to do.
could work well with him because Thatcher was in WWE.
Because Thatcher is also a really good brawler. Like,
Yeah.
even prior to WWE, Thatcher was a really good brawler. So if they have a brawling match, I think that could be really good. Because Thatcher is an excellent technical wrestler, but he's a really underrated brawler.
Yes.
So if they have a technical match, then I'm probably going to feel the same about that match as I feel about this match. But if they have more of a brawling match, then I think I'm actually going to love that match.
Mm-hmm. Then we go to the main event. Masakatsu Funaki defeated Katsuhiko Nakajima in 22 minutes and 26 seconds with the hybrid blaster, which is like a tombstone pile driver type thing. This went way too long for starters.
Is this the longest Funaki match he's had? And like, I'm thinking if this is the longest match he's had in Noah, but it's definitely been the longest match he's had in a long time.
Okay, so the bad, this went way too long. The good, they were kicking the shit out of each other at points, and Funaki gave Nakajima a lot. More so than he gives to most of the other wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah, definitely.
But it just went way too long.
Was like, it definitely went way too long. But it's definitely he gave some respect to his stablemate. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, basically that was it. So I don't know if I would have made that the main event, but whatever.
No, it was also definitely very weird that this was like the order of the. But then again, this was kind of a weird show for that, because if you just look at the card, there is really no like obvious main event.
I think you could have done Kaito and Kitamiya in the main event.
Could have done that, or you could have done Kano versus Mochizuki.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that it's like a slam dunk that either of those should have main evented over this one.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because it is still a champion and like the last year's winner, so I get why they put this one in the main event slot.
We go to night 3, and I think night 3 might have been the best overall, top to bottom.
I probably would say I prefer night 2.
Okay.
Because I have my issues with.
Oh, I have some issues with this show
specific
too.
things in the main event, especially.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to. That'll be interesting discussion. So we begin though with in Block B action. Takashi Sugiura defeated Kinya Okada with the Olympic Slam. Good, but Sugiura basically smothered Okada and made him look like a young boy.
It was kind of the opposite of the Kojima match, but I mean, It was still really enjoyable. Like the stuff that Sugiura actually did in the match was really, really good. But yeah, he gave Okada like absolutely nothing.
Next match, Block A, Anthony Green finally gets on the board with 2 points because he defeated Hio Dr. Wagner Jr. with a Cazadora cutback. Looked a little bit sloppy, but I thought the rest of the match was really good. I think Green's style meshed well with Wagner's, like, obviously lucha-influenced style.
Yep, no, this was definitely a positive surprise for me. Because I was like, when I was looking at the kind of match, I was like, kind of had this pegged in as like one of the potentially weaker matches of the overall tournament. But it definitely over-delivered. As I said, like Green matched up really well with Wagner here. And I think that really, really helped the match kind of exceed expectations. And I wouldn't say it was a great match, but it was definitely like really good, and it was still overall an enjoyable bout.
Next match, Block B, Masa Kitamiya defeated Masakatsu Funaki in 9 minutes and 3 seconds with the Saito suplex. I like this. I like the grappling at the beginning. There was some hard-hitting stuff. And I know this might sound like I'm being contradicting myself, but this Funaki match went a little too short. You could have added like 2 more minutes to this, and I think it would have been really good.
I would actually say this is kind of the perfect Funaki match length, to be honest. Like, you just 9 minutes in and out. Like, you do all of the stuff that Funaki is really good at. Like, you just have like really hard-hitting action, and it's like it basically you can get out of there before like Funaki runs out of gas / ideas. So to me, this was kind of like the ideal kind of Funaki match. And yeah, like I said, I think we're going to see this match again relatively soon.
Well, let me put it this way. If they do a rematch, it can't go any longer than 12 minutes.
No. That's exactly what I'm like. I actually think that maybe those additional minutes that you wanted in this match, you're going to get that in the title match.
Right, yeah. But if they do
so
something...
they might want to save that for that match.
For sure. And then after that, So we go to B block. Satoshi Kojima defeats Jack Morris in 12 minutes and 48 seconds with the Western Lariat. I thought this was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Kojima was willing to sell for Morris. Kojima put Morris over on Twitter after the match. You know, Morris looked good. Morris sold amazingly for Kojima, like just like bumping for all of his moves, taking one of those like sort of flipping around on the Western Lariat at the end. So yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, Morris definitely seems like a guy that has been watching his Japan tapes.
Yeah.
So I would assume that he was actually really happy to be in there with Kojima.
If you're actively seeking out to go to Noah, you've been watching Japanese tapes.
Yeah. And if you've done that, then you very likely have a really great appreciation for Satoshi Kojima. Because it definitely seems like Jack Morris has good taste in wrestling.
Yeah.
And like this really, again, was another like positive surprise as well. This really cemented it to me that Jack Morris actually belongs. Like, he can hang. He really he really acclimatized like incredibly well to Noah. And as I said, like he sold his ass off, and Kojima also did like a really good job at still putting him over despite the fact that he won the match.
Paul, would you say that Jack Morris is sublime every time?
I mean, it's his tagline, so it definitely seems like it's one of those wrestling taglines that is accurate, at least so far.
Yep. And then we go to Block A. Go Shiozaki defeats Masaki Mochizuki in 14 minutes and 22 seconds with the limit break. Another pretty darn good match. I think there were some people higher than me on this, although I don't know. I thought it took a little bit of time to get going, but once you started getting into the arm work and everything, and Shiozaki having to fight back despite the fact that he couldn't really use the lariat, I thought that did end up telling a pretty good story.
Yeah, it was probably, like I said, like all Mochizuki matches have been really good. This was probably the weakest of the three, but it was still a really darn good match.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's why Mochizuki is easily my MVP for the tournament so far. Go as well, though, has been doing pretty well as well in his matches. So, like, to me, it was like, very easily. It's like, two of the best people in the tournament facing off against each other and just doing a really solid job. And I don't really have any real complaints about the match. It would not shock me if the Go
arm thing becomes a story throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that's really been the Go story for a long while now, where like it's just he just sells the arm because it's kind of one of his it's basically
much
his
like
main
Tanahashi's
weapon.
knees in August. It's time to pretend my arm's about to fall off.
Yeah, or it's like, what? Oh, it's the N1. No, my arm kind of hurts. It's basically Go Shiozaki. But look, I mean, that's the smart thing. Like, especially at Shiozaki's age, like emulating Tanahashi, I think is like the exact thing you should do at the age that Shiozaki is at now.
Yes, definitely.
Because that just prolongs your career by that much more.
Exactly. And unlike, it's funny because Tanahashi looks like he's in more pain than a lot of other guys his age, but because of his IQ, he's better than them.
Yeah.
Right? And I think Go can be that kind of guy too.
Yeah, no, because, Go really has put everything together. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, for a long time, Go Shiozaki was just, like, seemed like one of the guys with the most, like, wasted potential. But now he's just, like, really showing like why he was considered to be a guy that could be an all-time great early on in his career.
Well, it's funny because I asked in the Discord and I said, who does Jake Lee remind you of in regards of like, he's got a look, he's a tall, handsome guy, he's a great worker, but he can't put it all together. And there were some varying answers, but I thought Go was a good comp in some ways, although there was some stuff out of Go's control too that also screwed him over.
I keep forgetting that Jake is still only like 33.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that was at a time where social media wasn't as big yet, so Go didn't really have the opportunity to like.
Maybe Go would have been going on Twitter
himself,
and being like, I want to face who would have been champion at the point? Yeah, still would have been
Tanahashi.
Tanahashi. I want to face Tanahashi. Still would have been Tanahashi. Yeah.
But hey, Go actually did get an IWGP title match. So
that's true. Go did had some big Tokyo Dome matches.
Yeah, and he also had a match with Togi Makabe for the IWGP title. So like he actually got into New Japan. He actually got a title match in New Japan. I don't think Jake is gonna be.
Has he not? He's been in the G1.
Yeah,
he's also been in the
G1. Yeah, he's been in the G1 as well. So Go actually is doing the things that Jake wants to do. I don't think Jake actually will be in the G1 or get an IWGP World title match either.
No. Well, if New Japan business crashes, you never see.
Yeah, if that actually happens,
because then they'll go back to working with everyone more fairly.
Yeah.
And not like smothering them.
Yeah, true.
That was the only way they could get out of that.
Yeah, there's going to be issues for New Japan if they actually put Jake Lee in a G1. Let's put it that way.
And then we go to B block. Kaito Kiyomiya defeats Katsuhiko Nakajima in 17 minutes and 45 seconds with the figure 4 leg lock. Now, I'm sure you'll talk about issues you have with the main event. I thought this was pretty underwhelming for the talent involved. And I don't know if it's some visceral reaction, but I was not into Kaito doing the Muto spots. I don't know. It was just like, oh, here it goes. Figure 4, leg lock. Okay, it's over. Very disappointing from match from these two, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially given the bangers that these two have had against each other. Like, this was definitely one of my most anticipated matches of the entire tournament, and it was just okay. I don't think it was bad, but it was just also like I didn't really walk away afterwards being like, oh, this was really good. Like, I was just like, out of all of the matches that these two have had against each other, this was one of them. Like, there was also just this weird lack of intensity for everything too. Like for the finish as well, like I think Kaito really needs to just stop. Like actually, you know what actually was my biggest gripe with the match, and it actually kind of ruined the entire match for me? It was the spot where Nakajima choked out Kaito, and then he just let go for like no reason. Like they were like, because that spot was so weird because there were so many times where it was like, okay, the ref just kind of has to call the match because Kaito has been like unresponsive and like unconscious for what feels like 30 seconds already, and the ref is still just like, maybe he's coming back now. No, his arm is still dropping, and then Nakajima just lets the choke go, and then Kaito rolls out of the ring. And I was like, that's just shit. Like, I just didn't get that spot at all. Like, it made no sense at all. And it just completely took me out of the flow of the match. Like, I don't think it was like on a trajectory to be a great match before that either. But then afterwards, I was just kept thinking back to that spot, and it just really bothered me.
And what do you think of the Muto stuff?
The Muto stuff,
it feels too forced.
It definitely feels too forced. Like, and it's still like I don't think he's still really good at like doing the figure 4, and he really needs to stop just banging the mat when he's applying the figure 4. Because he just does it way too much. Yeah.
So this was, to me, I mean, it wasn't a bad match, but definitely the biggest disappointment of the tournament so far.
Very easily the biggest disappointment of the entire tournament. Like, if one of the other like highly anticipated matches like really shits the bed, I'm gonna be like, say it's worse than this. But otherwise, in terms of matches, I was previously highly anticipating. It definitely was the worst one.
Yeah. And then in the main event for Block A, Masato Tanaka defeated Keno in 19 minutes and 1 second with a sliding D. Sounds like we're going to have some disagreements. I love this. It's just ridiculous, and I liked it. Like, I wrote in my notes, like, is there too much no selling in this? But them just kicking the crap out of each other was hilarious and awesome, I thought.
I don't know. I thought that was just okay. And my thing for this one, what I really hated about this match, was the finish. I thought the finish was awful. I thought the finish because Keno misses his double foot stomp from the top rope, right? Mm-hmm. And then he just stands there and just looks at Tanaka while Tanaka slowly gets up and then hits the sliding D on Keno's leg to take him down, and then hit the sliding D on him for the finish. But to me, that was just like Keno just looked like such a goober because he just misses the double stomp and he just stands there and he just stares at Tanaka. And I'm not even blaming him for it. I'm blaming Tanaka for it. Because Tanaka just took such a long time to get up instead of just, I don't know, lunging for his knee right away to like get him down. Like, he just made Keno look bad with that finish.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't be like the stuff before it was fine. Like, it was kind of ridiculous. It was just kind of like, yeah, these two kind of just going toe to toe, but just the finish just kind of really ruined it for me.
I don't know. I didn't mind it, I guess. I thought the sliding D to the leg and then the regular sliding D was kind of cool, but I can see why someone would be a little lower on this match than me, definitely. But Paul, is Masato Tanaka now the real world champion?
Because he beat Keno?
Yes. He's also the 0-1 world champion, and Keno is the GAC champion.
True. So you need to have a unification match now, I guess.
Well, yeah. Which will go to a 60-minute draw. Now, that might be a bit much for the... Now, Keno can go 60 minutes, but Tanaka
at this point definitely cannot, no.
Yeah.
You would need to do some major, bells and whistles to have Tanaka go 60 minutes. Yeah, that was maybe one of the other issues that I had with this match as well, that I felt it went a little bit long. You could probably have shaved off 4 minutes off of it, and I probably would have a different finish and maybe 4 minutes less, and I probably would have liked this match a lot more than I actually did.
Okay, so that is the after 3 nights. There will be a show tomorrow, or by the time you're listening to this, that would have already happened. But just to go over the points in
depends how long I need for the editing.
And for Block A, Keno 4 points, Hideki Suzuki 4 points, Masato Tanaka 4 points, Go Shiozaki 4 points, Kazuyuki Fujita 2 points, Ahiro to Dr. Wagner Jr. 2 points, Anthony Green 2 points, and Masaki Mochizuki 0. Block B, Masakatsu Funaki 4, Takashi Sugera 4, Masakitamiya 4, Satoshi Kojima 4, Katsuhiko Nakajima 2, Jack Morris 2, Kaito Kiyomiya 2, and Kinya Okada 0. Now, certainly everyone, Okada still being 0 is not surprising, but I guess Mochizuki being the other 0 is a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Are these standings right now, do they change your mind at all about who you think is going to the finals?
No, because... Yeah, no, everything is still set up in sort of things that are way. You're going to have a lot of people. Like, Keno's going to be in the mix till the end, obviously. So is Fujita. Who else in his block might be? Keno. Well, Hideki might, given how many jobs he will probably end up doing in this tournament. And then Go, I suspect, will win. And then in Block B, you got Funaki, who will be there till the end. Sugera probably till the end. Kojima, I think, is winning. And Nakajima... I'm not sure if Nakajima will be there until the end, though.
I could actually see him do a bit of a... I mean, the thing is, are they going to do comeback stories with both Kaito and Nakajima?
Kaito, yes. Nakajima,
yeah, no, because the block is very clearly coming down to... Because Kojima and Kaito have a match on the final night. That's clearly what this block is coming down to.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was thinking maybe where Nakajima might also do a little bit of a comeback story is because with Kenya being at 0 points, I think if he gets any points, it's by beating Nakajima on the final night to eliminate him.
That makes sense. Yep.
But if Nakajima is not in the mix, then I think Kenya will just get 0 points.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. So that is the N1 victory. And we'll do a real quick DDT Wrestle Peter Pan 2022 preview because we will review that show next week. I have to admit, I have not been keeping on top of DDT. I haven't watched the last Cork and Hall show.
Yeah, same. So I mean, we're just gonna give our thoughts kind of on the match as we see them, and we're probably not gonna get all of the storyline beats. So just that people are aware of that.
So first match: Yusuke Okada, Yuya Koroku, and Illusion versus Toy Kojima, Yuki Ishida, and Takashi Masada. Masada, I heard debut and looks really good. I haven't seen him yet.
But hey, look who's back in the opener.
I know. We'll talk about another Okada snub in a second.
Actually, not fun fact, but actually maybe scenario. If Okada hadn't left, do you think he would have been in a Royal Road tournament this year?
Yes.
Would he have been eliminated in the first round, though? That's
Possibly.
the question. Yeah. Because I think actually at this point he probably would have been in a better position in All Japan than he is now in DDT, but I still don't think he actually still would have been in a good position.
Champion.
Yeah.
Three-way,
such a weird career. He's so talented.
Yes,
such
I
a
know.
waste.
I know. Can't even get a break. And his guy is if Akiyama told Senshiro Takagi, you need to push Yusuke Okada more, I would assume it would happen. Right? Yeah. So a three-way match. Pheromones, Yuki Sexy Ino, Danshoku Dandy Dino, and Koju Shining Ball Takeda versus Yuji Hino, Yukio Naya, and Super Sasadango Machine versus Toru Iwashi, Kazuki Harada, and Antonio Honda. That's a waste of Hino and Naya.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably going to be some wacky stuff in this, but I don't know.
On a much higher note, special six-man tag, Naomi Yoshimura, Koto Umeda, and Kaisuke Okuda versus Hiroshima, Yukio Sakaguchi, and Hideki Okatani.
Yeah, so Okuda back to DDT.
Back to DDT.
Yeah.
Have I heard he's going to go back to MMA as well after leaving Dragon Gate?
Yeah, I mean, if DDT allows him to just do jobs
sure
in MMA. Well, I mean, okay. Well, I mean, it's not like it's fake. It's just that he's a terrible fighter. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah. So we have next up the Shinichiro Kawamatsu debut match. And I do know the story to this. He's a member of the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly, which is like the city hall for all of Tokyo.
Yep.
And he's teaming with Shenshiro Takagi and Soma Takao, who versus Osama Nishimura, who is a city councilor for like the Bunkayo, or is that how you say it? Bunkyo ward, which is the ward in central Tokyo where the Tokyo Dome is. And so it's teaming, Nishimura's teaming with Makoto Oishi and Akito. So this will have a lot of comedy in it, I'm sure, too.
Yeah. I think they're both from the same party as well, probably. I mean, it's
everyone
Japan.
in Japan.
It's Japan, they're all in the LDP,
yeah. Even it's like, and even I was reading like, independents are like, most independents are like backed by the LDP too.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, fucking, what's his face, Otani is in the LDP, which is like, I don't know. Doesn't really seem like a natural fit, but I don't think the party actually has, like, it technically has ideology, but it's also just the ruling party of Japan, I think. For people that don't know Japanese politics, that's basically just what this party is.
Yeah, it's incredibly factionalized too, right? It's like, so, yeah, it's not ideological. Well, I guess nationalism to some extent. Yeah. Special mixed tag match, Jun Akiyama and Saki Akai versus Chris Brooks and Asuka. This should be awesome, I think.
Yeah, this actually should be a really good match. I think that's about as good as like a intergender tag match as you can book, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, honestly, yes.
I'm actually really curious about the Akiyama and Akai team, actually. That's actually really cool. Like, that's actually two really interesting people to put together.
Yes. And Asuka now back in Japan after her American Nightmare.
Oh, God, Jesus. Yeah, we're not going to get into that one, but like, holy shit, I'm so happy she made it out of there.
Yeah. So the DDT Extreme title, because he won it on the last show against Akito in an Ippon light tube death match, which I heard was not as good as the other past Ippon light tube death match. Joey Janella versus Shunma Katsumata. I will completely admit there have been times where I've been high on Joey Janella, but I am not anymore.
No.
And against Shunma, I don't know. It could be something okay, I guess. But
Yeah,
whatever.
definitely don't.
Not looking forward to it.
No, I don't have high
'Cause
expectations. for
Shunma
this.
doesn't always deliver either, but I've seen
No.
them in good matches.
They're kind of very similar in many ways, actually.
Yeah, like a hardcore guy that shows some technically
Yeah, exactly.
wrestling potential, but never lives up to it.
Yeah, exactly. And also is maybe not the person that is like the most diligent in the gym either.
But Janella's hanging around, I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yeah.
he's got that Takagi seal of approval.
I mean, it's not like he has
putting
anything else of note to do
GCW
in the US.
Well, yeah, but they're also putting up GCW shows on Universe, so like that means something,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, actually, well, we can actually talk about it afterwards on like last, because there's actually something I just remembered that I watched, but we can talk about it at the end. Yeah.
Okay, so for the DDT Universal title, Masahiro Takanashi versus Yuki Ueno, I think that will be good. That will deliver.
Yeah, that has the potential to be the best match on the show. Well, the main
I
event is
think-
probably going to be that, but this
Yeah.
one has like this one to me also has a pretty high ceiling.
I think Ueno wins. I don't have a really good feel for the story, but I
Yeah.
think it's time.
Yeah, I mean, he has held that title before. He had an amazing reign with that title. So I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
To me, it just feels like he's just kind of going in circles if he just wins this title again.
True. So I don't know. DDT 25th anniversary special 6-man tag team match. Dick Togo, Daisuke Sasaki, and Cannon with MJ Paul versus Konosuke Takeshita, Mao, and Yasu Urano for some reason.
Yeah, that's like literally random. It's like you just read this match and it's like,
Well,
and Yasu Urano.
Urano
okay.
used to be around DDT a lot.
But
and,
still, like that's still
and
like
Togo
random.
too, right? But it's Togo. Well, I've seen stuff with Togo, but yeah.
I mean,
don't know.
Togo was kind of a relatively big part of DDT. Like he had an amazing KOD title match with God, why am I blanking on his name now? He's on this show, isn't he? Yeah, with Honda.
Oh, really?
If you've never seen that, yeah, it's actually
seen it, no.
it's might have hopefully maybe we'll see. I might have just
Oh,
spoiled
I've always
stuff I
liked
might do
Togo as a
for.
wrestler.
Yeah, I might have just
But-
spoiled maybe, and hopefully people will forget that in 6 months. But this might turn up in the VOW Secret Santa this year.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you got Takeshita and Cannon. Like basically, I feel like, well, I guess Dick Togo will probably work harder here than he does in the New Japan undercards.
I would assume
But
so.
I guess
yeah.
it's a real of a question of how much he can still go. Otherwise, it'll be Cannon basically carrying his team.
I mean, it really depends if we get House of Torture Dick Togo or if we get DDT Dick Togo.
Yeah. So that one's up in the air, I think. And your main event for the KOD openweight title, Kazusada Higuchi makes his first defense of it against former champion Tetsuya Endo. Paul, I originally thought after watching the show where Higuchi wins the title and them doing all that fanfare that Higuchi was a shoo-in, but I'm seeing more and more people thinking Endo's going to win this in recent days.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm still leaning Higuchi.
I'm kind of 50-50. I could really see this match go either way.
I just feel like it sabotages Higuchi after the amount of fanfare that they made for him. Right? Because it's a geek move because it reminds me of Jake Lee finally beating Kento for the Triple Crown and then losing it right away.
I mean, it depends what their original plans were. Because, obviously their original plans got derailed by Endo managing to get himself knocked the fuck out. So, I mean, if their original plan was always to have Higuchi win the title here, then obviously he's going to beat Endo. But maybe if their plan was to have this match at the show and for Endo to just beat Higuchi, then I think Endo is still going to beat Higuchi. Like, it's basically, I think their plans got derailed, but I actually have a feeling that this was always their plan, this to be the main event of the show. It's just, the question is, what was their plan originally? And now it's just basically, they're going to go back to what they wanted to do originally. And if their plan always was for Higuchi to win here, then he's going to defend the title. Whereas if their plan was always to give Endo a really long title reign, then Endo is going to win the title back here.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like, I guess it comes down to the booking proclivities, right? Because we know, like, Tony Khan will create interim titles because he doesn't want to veer from his plan. But I don't know. I feel like Takagi might be a little more flexible.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's definitely going to be a great match, I would say.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm still leaning towards Higuchi for those reasons anyway. And so that's the show. Just a quick note, and Paul, we'll talk about what you watched in a second. On the show, on the last Korakuen, Akiyama announced his 30th anniversary match, which will be Jun Akiyama, Tetsuya Endo, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Konosuke Takeshita, Yuji Nagata, and Shunma Katsumata. What do you think of that match, Paul?
I mean, it seems like a pretty good match overall, but I feel like you have a very specific comment about this match.
Well, yes. No Okada.
Yeah. He really is like the unloved son in a way.
He has called up his old grimy friend. Oh, I love Kanemaru, but still, it's sort of interesting. Like, you could, like, why not put, is New Japan really going to get that upset if you have Nagata and Kanemaru team together instead of Shunma? I don't know. But then who takes the fall? Because I think Shunma's taking the fall.
Well, is he though? Well, okay, he's probably not going to win against Janella, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, he could have also made it an 8-man tag as well, but it definitely feels like June called up his old grimy friend, and also he would rather team with his fancy new, like, main eventer son rather than his older dojo boy that is still on the undercards.
Yeah. So, and I guess one other little thing. With this match now announced, do you think that increases any chances of Akiyama at the Budokan?
Do you think? But wouldn't they maybe have already announced it?
Well, I think there might be more announcements coming on the 20th.
True. I mean, it would definitely make 100%. Like, I think it would make all the sense in the world to have a 50th anniversary with Jun Akiyama on it. Because really, from that generation, like he is a major part of All Japan history. Mm-hmm. Like, for like multiple reasons. Like, it's for his like super rookie run in the 90s, but then also for like him coming in and not essentially, but like literally saving the promotion. Yeah. Like, he literally prevented All Japan from going out of business. Yeah. So it would be very weird if he wasn't on the 50th anniversary show. Like, even if he doesn't really want anything to do with the promotion right now, I think he should just be there just for like history's sake.
Just take the payday, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But plus, you can, like, Yuji's going over to Budokan after the show.
Yeah.
Taking the subway over, so you can ride with Yuji over to the Budokan.
Yeah. No, so I think, like, he should be there. Even if he doesn't wrestle, like, even if it's just, like, an appearance, like, he stand there with
Shake
Kawada
Kento's hand after the main
exactly.
event or
Like,
something.
you just stand there with, like, you're in the ring with Kawada and Kobashi and, like, a picture of Misawa or whatever, as like Kento gets the belt put around him after the main event, and just like he should definitely be there at the very least, even if he doesn't have a match. But I think he should have a match as well.
Yes, ideally.
Yeah.
I expect more matches to be announced, or more things, maybe participants to be announced on the All Japan show on the 20th, because by then it will be just under a month. So you have to have, I think, everything laid out after that show.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. So what
you really want to sell the tickets?
Yeah. What do you watch?
It's just real brief, because on Wrestle Universe they uploaded a junior title match between Hayata and Ridgeway from in the UK.
Oh yes, that's right.
And Wrestle Carnival. Well, I mean, as expected, it is a Hayata match. So I don't think it's really like something you need to go out of your way of. Ridgeway was pretty good in it, as expected. Like, Ridgeway like really did well. Like, they did a lot of technical stuff on the mat. I think Hayata actually kept up relatively well with Ridgeway in this match, but like overall it was still just kind of a Hayata match, and to me the finish also just came like a bit out of nowhere.
Surprise.
Hayata just hits the headache out of nowhere and just wins the match. One thing that was noticeable that I really like noticed watching this match is like at times I had a feeling it was actually not a show in the UK, it was actually a show in Japan, because it felt like a clap crowd, basically.
Oh, really? I was going to ask, are the British shaming themselves further by loving Hayata, or no?
No, but they also shamed themselves further by not loving Ridgeway. And I actually talked to Neil David from the Eurograbs Express. Really good show to listen to if you have any kind of interest in European wrestling. Even if you don't care about British wrestling, he also talks about wrestling from Germany. So real well worth a listen, but he also said that, Ridgeway isn't really over in the UK, like almost anywhere really. So if I was him, I would really like.
But he's
push
worked all
Noah.
the big places like Rev Pro and all that, right?
Yeah, and he was champion in Progress. And actually, yeah, I'm just gonna quote Neil here, where he said that Ridge Ray was such a weird choice as Progress champion because Progress fans don't like wrestling. So I think that really sums it up really well. And if I was Ridge Ray, I might want to look into like really pushing Noah into like just
Moving to Japan.
yeah, exactly, just be there permanently. Because
Yeah, like, I
he's
think he
just
could
such
do
a
the
great
Zack
fit.
Sabre thing and just
Yeah.
be there full time for
And
sure.
just stay there. And I mean that's what all the smart British wrestlers do, right?
Yeah. Well, to escape the British scene.
Yeah, to escape the British scene, exactly. So I hope he might do that soon because in this match I was kind of felt they just kind of did some polite clapping for most of the match.
Okay, yeah. So I know that's up on Universe, but I haven't gotten a chance to check it out. Maybe I will if I do have some time. It sound. I really like Ridgeway, so
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like I said, you
worth
did
it.
some good like Ridgeway technical wrestling on there, and like I said, Hayata kept up with him relatively well. But again, it's nothing you need to go out of your way. Like if you have some time, it's like a quick, easy in and out. But because it's literally only that match went up on Wrestle Universe.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. I think we have a lot of excitement going on, building to the end of the Royal Road tournament and the N1, which I think is off to a pretty good start, all things considered. So we are going to be back next week talking about the results of the Royal Road tournament, and then probably have even more stuff to talk about what's going to happen at the 50th anniversary Budokan, and I'm sure we'll have some more shocking results in the N1 to talk about. So for Paul Vosh, I'm Gerard Detrot, and we will talk to you next week.